Engaging in a diverse range of outdoor activities draws upon every fiber of the things that make us human. They cleanse our minds and make us stronger, smarter, wiser, tougher. They help us develop all of our gifts. My aim is to inspire, so I invite you to join me in the exciting outdoor adventures on the Let Outside YouTube channel. Hello, my brothers and sisters. I'm Matt Letterly, and thanks for joining me on the Let Outside YouTube channel. I've just returned from a pheasant hunting trip in South Dakota, and today I'm going to be cooking 2 of those birds for my dear sweet mother using quite a delicious recipe. And if you're interested, I've posted hunting videos from that trip here on the Let Outside YouTube channel. Now I'm going to get in that kitchen and show you this recipe. I like this recipe for several reasons. Roast pheasant cooked with a blend of bay leaves, thyme, and a selection of seasonings and spices offers a flavor profile that is both rich and delicate. The earthy undertones from these herbs, combined with the depth of red or white wine, create a hearty yet refined dish that perfectly complements the autumn season.
Oh, Matthew. Oh, that smells delicious.
Yeah, huh? Here are my go-to ingredients, organic where possible. From left to right, we've got all-purpose flour, Pinot Grigio, or red wine if you're feeling adventurous, chicken stock, and I think chanterelle mushrooms are best, but I ate them all, so I'm going to use these criminy mushrooms. Fresh is better, but canned works. 4 to 5 bay leaves and thyme, because they're the MVPs of this recipe, plus a dash of rosemary, sea salt, and pepper. Garlic, I'm using the jarred stuff because laziness wins, but fresh is also great. Add olive oil, ghee, or any butter you've got, onions, and 4 slices of bacon chopped up, because these skinless pheasant breasts need all the fat help they can get. But if your birds have the skin on, lucky you. Just leave the skin on and cut back a slice or 2 on the bacon. Yesterday, I brined these 2 breasts in a mix of 1/3 cup salt, 1/3 cup sugar, and enough water to cover them, then pop them in the fridge overnight. Brining's my go-to when I can't dry age my wild game, like these birds, which had to be frozen and then carried home with me on a plane. Then I separate the breast meat from the breast plate, and I leave all the fat on the breasts. And I don't throw the breast plates out because I'm going to use them in a moment. Next, I fry the chopped bacon. I'm using a sauce pot versus a saucepan, and that's for 3 reasons. 1, to contain the grease splatter. 2, because I'm going to use this pot to cook the birds, and I want all the flavor to stay in the pot as I layer in each new ingredient. And 3, because the way that I do this requires more room, and you'll see what I mean shortly. Then I pull the bacon out, but I leave the rendered fat in the pot, and this is because wild pheasants are so lean, and I set the bacon aside because I'm going to use it later in this recipe. Now I start browning the onions because this takes a bit of time, and I brown them in melted ghee. Some prefer onions only to be cooked to translucent, and those are also good, but I prefer the flavor that the browned onions deliver to the cooking sauce. Season the breasts with ground salt and pepper if you haven't already, and dredge them in flour and set them aside. I also prefer the flavor of browned mushrooms, and since the onions take longer to brown, I add the mushrooms when the onions are about halfway done. Then I add the breasts to the hot bacon grease, and I'm going to brown them on each side as opposed to cooking them to doneness. So I do this quickly with medium to medium-high heat. And this isn't just for appearance because the browned breasts add another layer of flavor to this recipe. They'll complete their cooking once everything is brought together in the oven. Looks like the onions and mushrooms are coming along like a well-trained bird dog. Then turn the breasts and brown the other side. And I like to brown one side a bit more than the other because when I plate the dish, I want the side that's browned more deeply to be facing up. But I never want to risk overcooking anything, especially wild game. So take care with this step. Again, not cooking these to doneness, and in fact, the less done on the inside they are, the better, because they're going to spend an hour in this pot baking at 250 Fahrenheit in just a bit, or about $120 Celsius. And so this deeply browned face will face upwards when they're plated. They're ready to pull and set aside, and not that anyone would, but don't drain them on paper towels. Put them on a plate to collect the juice, which will be added back in. Scrape the bottom to loosen all the browned ingredients with their built-up flavors and leave them in the pot. Then add the mushrooms and onions and bring them together. And preheat the oven to 250 Fahrenheit or about 20 Celsius. About the only time I ease up on how much garlic I'm cooking with is when I'm cooking game birds, because I love their delicate and complex flavors so much, and I want to be careful about overpowering that with anything. Stir it a bit. Add at least a quarter bottle of white wine for 2 full breasts, and let that come to a low simmer for 5 to 10 minutes. Then add the breastplates, because like everything else, these add even more flavor, and I let them simmer a bit, then turn them, and I'm just going to leave these in the pot for the rest of the cooking. And you can see how much room they take up, and that's really why I use this pot. Add the beautifully browned breasts and their drained juices. The cooked bacon goes back in. Ah yes, then the chicken stock. I'd say at least a cup, if not 2, and I'm going to tell you something cool in a minute. Then I add 5 bigger bay leaves. I tend to go a bit heavier with it because I think it does more to bring out the flavor of the pheasant than any of the other ingredients, and lends itself to a smoother, less tangy, and more buttery flavor experience. Add thyme, and as you're noticing, I don't measure anything for a dish like this, but I'm careful with thyme because it can easily overpower wild game. Then some rosemary, and for me, while I love its flavor, I don't want to actually taste it with wild game, and instead want it to contribute to all of the flavors more transparently, if that makes any sense. I'm adding more chicken stock because I want extra sauce. Once everything is plated, I let any extra sauce cool in a bowl, then I freeze it and use it for sauteing and or baking chicken. And that's a whole other incredible flavor experience for another episode. I also add it to cooked white rice, and oh my goodness, I have eaten a whole plate of it that way, no problem. This is what I do to get the herbs nestled in with everything. Then cover it and keep it at a low simmer for about 5 minutes. Then into the preheated oven for 1 hour covered, again 250 Fahrenheit, 120 Celsius. Steamed or grilled asparagus pairs well with pheasant, as does wild rice, French bread, and lots of other things, so I serve it with whatever I'm in the mood for. And as if the house didn't already smell like a French chalet at supper time, my stars, if you could smell this. And I let it stand for 5 minutes or so in the pot before I plate it.
Ooh, it looks delicious.
How did it?
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh, the smell. Oh, I can hardly wait to try it.
How about some asparagus?
Oh, yes. Oh, beautiful. Oh. A little parsley. Nice.
How's that smell?
Wonderful. Oh, beautiful sauce. Oh, look at that. Nice.
Well, I have to propose a toast to my beautiful, lovely mother for teaching me how to cook.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Mater.
Oh, you're so welcome.
We were speaking Latin the other day.